The second part of trial reading for Volume 4 of the third year arc has finally released, and believe it or not, this token collection exam has the potential to become the best special exam in the history of Classroom Elite. Even though the scale is far below the uninhabited island exam, this exam simply exposes more character and their weakness, making it really complicated and also cruel for a lot of students. Starting from the title, the second part of trial reading is titled From a Small Crack, and after you read it, you will understand that the crack that the title mentioned is the unity inside each class. The second part started with Horikita offering cooperation to Ichinose, saying that since they are both class leaders, it will be better for them to aim for the top spot and prevent expulsion in their classes. Ichinose agrees with it, and Horikita is actually glad that at least Ichinose is the most trusted leader in their grade. However, Horikita still didn't know about Ichinose's cooperation with Ayanokoji. Looking back at Volume 1 third year arc, both Ichinose and Ayanokoji agree that the class that has the fewer number of class points will be given victory no matter how small the margin is. And since the previous exam has given Ichinose's class a lot of class points, it's now their turn to give Ayanokoji's class a victory. Since Ichinose favors Ayanokoji more than Horikita, Ichinose wouldn't try her best to get the first place in this exam, and that is where Horikita is wrong about Ichinose. Ironically, Horikita mentioned that Ichinose is the easiest to handle among the class leaders simply because she could be trusted, but if Ichinose betrays her in this exam, that will be the first crack in her long-existed belief. However, back in Volume 2 third year arc, Kei actually warned Horikita about this possibility. So if Horikita is capable enough to at least see something is not right, she should be able to prevent any possible betrayal, but if she cannot, that will be another loss for Horikita, a loss that might be too much for her to handle. For a note, Sudo also told Horikita about the possible traitor in their class, so this exam will be especially head-wrecking for Horikita. Now that her protection point is gone, someone will definitely get expelled from her class if she makes a wrong move, so this exam could change the way Horikita thinks. After all, she saw Ichinose finally grow and no longer be naive about expulsion, so Horikita herself needs her own development. Next we got a scene where Ryuen accidentally caught Ayanokoji looking at Hiyori. In the middle of his depression about how to beat Ayanokoji, Ryuen catching Ayanokoji looking at Hiyori is definitely a big worrying moment since it makes you think Ryuen will take advantage of her to beat Ayanokoji. Ryuen knows Hiyori likes Ayanokoji, so knowing that Ayanokoji maybe has the same feeling will definitely trigger his wicked mind. Just like Horikita and Ichinose, Hirata is also offering cooperation with Ryuen, and Ryuen somehow agrees as long as Hirata shows his worth. We once again see Hirata show his murderous face just like what he showed when he fought Hashimoto, and it shows us how desperate he is to protect his classmates. Maybe, just like Ichinose, Hirata also stopped being naive about expulsion. Now that Horikita no longer has a protection point, someone from his class could get expelled in this exam. And maybe Hirata finally choose that even if he cannot avoid expulsion, at least he will try to ensure that the expelled student is not going to be his classmate. For a note, cooperating with Ryuen is clearly a risky move, but since Ryuen is currently really desperate, and even Hirata is starting to push his boundary, this cooperation might turn into something unexpected. Ryuen will probably start to be trusted more, and Hirata will finally stop being a good guy, and that will be another crack in their long-established character. The last part of trial reading shows us a bit more of the rules in the special exam, which I personally found really terrifying even compared to the expulsion penalty. When a supervisor came to visit Group 3 where Ayanokoji was placed, he asked each class to choose a representative. A representative would have the right to distribute the token gained from the class or team battle, so even if they want to keep all the token for themselves, the others have no right to complain. The conflict immediately arises between Shinohara and Kushida. Shinohara wants to be the representative, and even though Kushida disapproves, she lost against the majority vote since Ika supports Shinohara. Ayanokoji believes that they already understand that the representative role is basically a spot that could save them from expulsion, and that's why the lesser students such as Shinohara would want to be the representative. The whole representative system is definitely interesting since the students who usually only followed their class leader will now have the responsibility to bear. And since how they distribute their token is up to them, conflict and insatisfaction will definitely arise for the entire exam. At worst, Betrayal could happen when some students feel they are at risk of expulsion, so it will be a representative job to assure them that the token will be distributed fairly. However, just like what Shinohara showed us, the lesser student who somehow ended up becoming the representative will definitely save themselves when the risk of expulsion is in front of them. This is definitely a problem for every class, but Class A will have it harder since not even 10 of them are competent enough to be the representative. After all, they were originally Class D students, and they will have it harder in the individual exam. The lesser students will definitely have a hard time on this exam, especially if their class leader cannot communicate and give a reassuring command. That's why when Kushida failed to become the representative, somehow I believe Ayanokoji will take action and win her over with the exchange of some tokens to save herself. We have seen him offering to be a spy to Kushida, so this whole drama between her and Shinohara might become the trigger. The writer's choice to put Kushida in the same group as Ayanokoji is definitely interesting, because since this volume's theme is trust and betrayal, both of them have already tasted it more than anyone in the series. There is a chance that Kushida will actually choose Ayanokoji. Or maybe she already did it, and this volume is just the stage to reveal it. Anyway, judging by how Ichinose probably betrayed Horikita, and also Kushida will probably betray the class, this exam is definitely a really important exam that will decide whether Horikita's class could stay as Class A or not. There are too many factors that could cause them to fail, and so far there is no sign a savior will come and save them from their misery. Speaking of Koenji, there are already 3 confirmed side stories for this volume, which are Ichinose's side story, Kushida's side story, and Koenji and Michan's side story. We could probably guess that Ichinose's and Kushida's side story will be just another day of gunning over Ayanokoji, but Koenji's and Michan's side story is definitely interesting. The last part of the synopsis mentions someone exploiting the rules and running out of control, and we know that Koenji is someone who could fill both of those categories. Not to mention, since the representative has the power to exclude one student and make them expelled on purpose, this exam is definitely not looking good for Koenji. No one is going to trust Koenji to be the representative, so if Koenji doesn't want to lose his protection point, he really needs to take action to at least save himself. As for Michan, since we knew that she was in the same group as Ayanokoji, I wonder if Ayanokoji still remembers how he threatened Koenji back in volume 12.5, where he mentioned Michan's name on purpose just to see how Koenji would react. We still didn't know what exactly the relationship between Michan and Koenji was, but this side story might give us a little clue that will become the starting point of Koenji getting serious. Anyway, I do hope Koenji will start to give a satisfactory performance, because so far the tide of the island is not looking good for Horikita's class. He could be their savior, but let's just hope Koenji could offer more than that.